Hey guys, welcome back to another video. In the last one we went on setting up Django, but in this video we'll be working on routing and how we could start looking at the pages we make. So I've got that file up from last video with two folders and a manage.py. For now you don't need to worry about .vs code if you are using VS Code on these two files. This file stores our dependencies and packages, which is all here. And then we can just open these two files and keep eye on these. So since whenever we make a new app, we need to tell the main project we've made an app and it should link to this main project. So how we do that is we go to settings.py, we go down, let me just get rid of this, let it load. We go down to install apps, and then we go ahead and write the app name. So it's gonna be home, and now this project knows inside of home there's this app name called now this my shop knows inside this whole project there's a app name called home which links to this my shop. There's not really anything else to do in the settings.py folder for now, so we'll close that. Just clear this. If it doesn't say pipenv here, I would suggest writing that command back for pipenv shell, and it creates me a shell. And I'm gonna initialize my git. You don't have to do this. I'm just doing this my GitHub, so you can follow with my GitHub and you can use that for the tutorial. So let me just add all git commit. So it will be first commit. You can see it's all been committed in this file. Clear. Actually, yeah, we can do that. And then we got GitHub for your repositories. New. Actually, we don't need an underscore here. Okay. Copy paste this, and then last command. And then we can clear. So load this page, and yeah, we've got our files in here. We could add a git ignore to ignore these pip files and this folder, but for now there's no need. We'll move on to the tutorial. Alright, so this video will be working routing. So our routing happens in our URL supply. This commenting you don't need to worry about. So these are modules from Django. So from the Django package, get the contrib file, which is a folder or file, which is a module, and import admin. And then there's a URLs folder to import path, but we also want to include because we'll be using this pretty sure it's a function soon. So let's just run the server. So how we run the server is run python manage.py run server, and you could just do this run server, like that, and I highly suggest you do that. But for me it won't work because I've bugged it out, so it'll say if my socket is forbidden, so I have to write AOAO. But you can just write manage.py run server without writing the AOAO. Then I've just enter this, I go into this, and then we can see this nice looking homepage Django's created for us. We won't have this forever once we create our first page, but we'll keep this for now. And then we can go to admin, because we can do this. We can go to admin because Django has already created an admin page for us, which is in this route. So admin / we can just try admin, and it'll take us to here, some login page. We can't really log in because we don't have any tables. I'll explain what tables are right now. So let me just Control C to get out that run server, get back into it. So when we run this, it says you have 17 unapplied migrations. Your projects may not work properly until you apply this migration for apps, including admin auth, and it was the auth migration which we were looking at, content types and sessions. So again, I press Control C to get out of that. So let's see what this means. Basically, we have a database file here, db.sqlite3. We can't really read it yet. Close that. So with this database file, what we need to do is every time we make a change to the database, we have to make sure we migrate it. But we didn't really make a change, but when we create the Django file, Django had created 17 changes by itself, which was specified here. Django creates 17 changes by itself. So what we need to do, whenever we start a new project, we do Python manage.py migrate, and we always run this command whenever we change the database. And how we change the database is through this models.py, because this folder, it talks directly to the database. And we run this, and it's applied all of them. We'll clear, we'll go back to the run server, refresh, and then we'll go to admin. And again, it doesn't give us an error, but we don't really have a staff username or whatnot. So what we need to do is close this. We need to do one command called python manage.py create super user, all in one command. And what this do, it'll create a user with all the privileges and moderations. So we enter. We can create username. I'm just gonna press enter just to default it to Bilal. And email address, you can press enter. You don't really need an email address. With password, I'm gonna write password 123. The thing is, it won't show you writing the password, so even though you're writing it, it won't show you it. So password 123, enter. It'll say this password is too common, bypass password. You can just write Y. Hold up, I've messed out. Well, let me do that command again. So Bilal email password and then you do Y here, and then yeah, it'll create for you. Let's load up the server. We'll reload it. Continue. Alright, so username's right. Let me change the password to password 123 and log in, and it takes us to this pre-created admin page. This is why Django is great, because it creates this admin page for you. So the only two fields we have is the user and groups page, and those two fields comes default with Django. If we can add a new user to this, or we could look at the user table and we can only see one, which is me. And we can go into it, and then we can see we can see some stuff. We can give some permissions, but since we're the super user, we have all permissions, and we could change some stuff if we wish to. We can create a new user, but we won't be using this for now. So how do we create our own URL like that from admin? So what we do is we create a new one, and inside here we can write home, and then we can do that, and then we, instead of doing admin.site.url, so you gotta do include, and then inside here we do the name of the app name which we're gonna relate to, because since we're gonna have a home URL, we need to relate to the app. So we'll do home, and then we do .urls. So basically what this is doing is going to the app name home, and then it's looking for a URL file, but we don't have a URL file, so what we need to do is create one ourselves. So we do a urls.py, and then what we do from there is copy and paste this, and then we put this here. We'll also need this from, we'll put it on top of here. We won't need the admin one, and we won't need include. So now what we do in here, we can just leave that as empty, and then we leave that as empty, and then we do name equals home. So basically, we just gonna do this. Alright, so basically this won't work, but what we're essentially doing is we're going we have this home / and if we write that in here for, let's just say, we'll go to this app, which is this app here, and we'll go to here, and it'll display whether it's inside here. So what's the better way of doing this is if we can leave this empty. We leave this empty, and then we go to here and write home here, so it'll make it'll clean stuff a bit more. So let's just let's see what happens here. If it says this, it must mean we're not running our server. So as I said, this won't work because we're missing one argument, which is a view. So if inside the app the urls.py won't work if there's no views with it. So in here we need a function-based request. So basically we do def, and we can name this anything, but it's convention that we name the main home page, like any page that a user lands first, index, or you can name this home if you wish, but I'll name it index. And then inside here we write request. In every function-based views, you will have to write requests here, because it'll send requests to HTTP and backwards. And then we do return render from this Django shortcuts, and then we do request, and then we do here we need a template name. I'll explain what templating is. So we just need to give it a direction, so we give it home dot home / index.htm, and then we do what was the last thing? We don't need a last thing for now, actually. The reason I'm doing HTM is because mine's glitched. I'll explain what I mean by that. So let's make this template. So we'll get rid of we don't need that. We need to go to home, create a new folder called template, templates, it's called templates, and then we'll create a new folder called home. This is also convention because if there's a home, if our app name is called home and we can we make a templates file, we need to make a home inside that templates file. We do this because let's say if we have 4 or 5 different apps, one called home, one called car, and one called let's just say contact. Well, if we didn't have a file to separate them files, because inside here we'll be putting our HTML files, so what will happen, say if we have one HTML file from a home app called index.html, and then in a car app we have index.html. Now we have 2 index.html, and Django won't know which one is for which, so we need to specify by making another folder called home. So if you want to specify the home HTML index, so we do what we will do is home, then go to index.html, and if you want the car index.html, we got car, then / car.html, but mine's htm because it's bugged. I'll explain why. So we'll do index.html. It'll show it works, but nothing really works, so yeah, we'll have to do HTML, but for you it'll be HTML, since you won't be bugged. So now in our urls.py we need to import views, and how we can do this is to from .import views. So what's this doing is it's going from the current directory, which is everything inside the home file and folder, and it's looking for the views file, and from views we can do views dot index, and we don't need any parentheses after this. We'll just do dot index like that, and it should work. Now that should have rooted everything up. Let's retrace what we've done. Alright, so what we did is we went to settings.py, we added a home app inside here, then we went to URLs, we made a include function here, and we did this. And what this is doing, since this is an empty string, it's gonna find, if you don't enter anything in the URL on top of here, it's basically gonna show that as the page, and then we include this app. And then what we did next is we create our urls.py folder and file, and then we specified the exact routing we want, which is home / and we gave it a name. I'll explain what we'll need a name for later. And then we've got a views.py, and then we just make a function that takes in a request, and it returns a render the request and a template naming, and this URL is taking this request. So basically what's happening is this URL is going back to the views function, and the views function is saying to use this HTML file, and then through this HTML file we can add HTML to this urls.py file. So let's see this happen firsthand. This is gonna happen because why this is gonna happen, this error is gonna happen, is because let's go pull up our other urls.py. So basically we have nothing in here, so that's alright, we have nothing in here. And if you go to urls.py and we add home / so the only 2 pages Django knows that exists is the admin page and the home page, and this doesn't give us an error, it'll work perfectly. but it doesn't understand the root page, and we can make that root page if we just delete this. So now in both the URLs this string is empty, and now it works. But if we go /home, it doesn't find home /home. So it makes sense for our home page just to have no follow on uh, routing. But let's say for example we have another path, and we need to separate these with the commas because this is a list path, and then we do about, and then we do views dot about. We don't have a about we don't have a about in views yet, but we'll make that soon. So we go to views, we'll create def about request, and then we do a this, and then we do about, and then that should be it. And we don't really have to add anything to this URL supply because anything inside this app will be tagged along inside this file. So we'll refresh, we'll go to about, this error will occur. So let's read this error. Template does not exist at about home about.htm. So what's happening here is it's looking at this line of code, and it's saying it doesn't exist. So what we'll need to do is create a file here called about.htm, and then reload the page, and we've got it. So we'll go back to the main page, we'll get the index.html file up, and I'm gonna just do an emit command right here. We'll do Django as the title, and we'll do a h1 of hello world, and right now we've got it working. So let me just write hello. Well, if I come back it doesn't work, you have to refresh the page every time. So you will have to refresh the page, or you do a hard refresh by Ctrl F5. And we don't really need this about right now, so we can just delete this. We can go in here, delete that, and then we'll need to go open this, where is it, over here, and delete this about. We don't really need this right now. So yeah, we can do whatever here. We can, if you know some HTML, we can make a form with an input of text, and then I guess placeholder name, and then submit button, submit, and then submit. So whatever HTML you will write, you can do here. Submit, and it does that. And yeah, that's all for this video. Let's just retrace what we did one last time if you're finding it difficult of what I just did there. So basically url.py, we went to url.py, and before we did that we went to settings.py. Actually we added a home app, and then we went to url.py, and then we added an include and a path to the home app, which is this app right here, and we gave that path because we did home.urls, and we realized there wasn't a urls file in home, so we made one ourselves by right clicking it and made a new file and named it url.py. You have to make sure it's exactly name by this, and then from here we just copy and pasted these few lines, and Control V and delete the admin path, and we're left with this empty path that takes us to the views.index function. And then we made a view.index function that takes in requests and a location of where our HTML file lives from his HTML, and then we go over to, and we made a templates folder. So in our app we made templates, and in the templates we made home. This has to be spelled exactly like this, otherwise Django won't find the location of index.html. And then we go here and we can write whatever we want. You can see our title being Django, and we can edit the page from there. Well, I guess that's the video from here. If you found this video helpful, make sure to subscribe and like. It'll help me out. If you want more of these videos, make sure to comment below. If you got any questions, make sure to comment below. That's all from me. Watch out for the next video.